if ours is
There is.
bad,
I know.
we'll get that fixed.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this beautiful Lord's Day. We thank you for all the wisdom that you bestowed upon us. I want to ask you to be with us tonight. Lead God direct us in this meeting, that everything we do will be pleasing in your eyes. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We'll start with a roll call. Curtis is back. Mr. Lindy's here. Ms. Sue is here. Mr. Fowler's here. Mr. Franklin's here. I'm here. Mr. Jimmy's here. Ms. Sherry's here. And I'm illustrious. Mr. Brown is here. Full atmosphere. So, for those of you who I'm going to go ahead and skip over this to speak tonight in the public participation. Please fill out a form. Ms. Wendy has those. They're in the back. Present them to her. Those are on the agenda. You don't have to have them. So, with that being said, we will move to the approval of the agenda. Everybody's had a chance to look at it.
Move approval of the agenda.
I second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same, motion carries. Approval of the minutes for the July 10th budget meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the July the 10th, 2023 budget workshop.
I second.
Been properly moved and seconded again. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same, motion carries. Public participation.
Wait.
One more minute.
Minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Down councilman, excuse me, I'm sorry. Put it together there.
Move approval of the minutes from the July 10th town council meeting.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same, motion carries. All right, now, excuse me for getting ahead of myself. See it. That was what it says. All right, public participation tonight. Mr. Only one we've got so far, Mr. Elijah. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm sure you probably missed me. Incidentally, I called town hall and told them I wasn't going to come. And I said I had got wet. Because I do deliver for public works like that, his church, and my church, faith. So outside, I didn't want to come back because it was raining, so I know it's hard to be there. But what it turned into when I talked with Vice Mayor Little, I had cold. I don't know how that came
No,
back
I
around.
said you got wet.
That's what I told you, but you said I had cold.
No, I said you got soaked with.
Did it?
No, I got wet.
Yeah,
You
no,
said in the
I-
meeting you got with.
Yeah, that's what they said in the meeting, that you got wet.
I think maybe that's it. But anyway, we'll get to what I'm talking about. Pine Terrace, that road. I think that road, I don't know how much money was allocated for that. Maybe I should have talked to you earlier.
You talking about Pine Lane?
Pine Terrace over by the church.
Yeah,
It's
that's
about
fine.
three different, at least two different
It turns
things.
into.
What it's saying.
Oh, okay, the beginning of it is Pine Lane. Okay.
That road. It should be like the regular road we got. Now, that road we've been patching it, as you can see. But I think we have enough money allocated for it to be like the regular road. I don't know. I think it was, and that's something we need to look up, because it really needs to be done right. And second of all, I want to say to Miss Wendy, I had told her something wasn't right, and I apologize for that. Because you were the the same light. Yeah, I call you on the phone, but I told her I wouldn't do it publicly.
I know.
Because I said it up here. And I like to kind of like brush it off.
Ms. Elijah, you have about a minute.
Thank
I'll
you.
just wait a minute.
Thank you, thank you very much. But anyway, these cemetery plots, I guess we need to have another meeting, because you brought up the question to me, why we can't buy more than one plot, all right? So I guess,
I think you can buy more than one plot.
only you got the right, so you ask me the question.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm going to remind.
All right, next up, Ms. Dana, did you want to speak now, or did you want to wait till our?
No, I'll wait for the agenda.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. We don't have anything else, so we'll move ahead. Informational items. Bread for the Mighty Food Bank Mobile Food Drive is Friday, the 28th at 1 p.m. out at the park. And we're having a real good turnout out there. Everything I am hearing is we're happy and everything's working well, so.
I had the wrong date on the last agenda. I had Friday the 27th, which was a typo. And I think somebody said something on Bronson and Bournemouth this weekend, so you may want to just correct that. You took out the agenda. I know.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
It's this Friday.
That's all. So,
It's always the last Friday in the month. of-
It's always the fourth Friday of the month, which is normally the last.
all right, and then we have our third budget workshop Monday, August the 7th, 5 p.m. here.
And I'm gonna say on record that I have, work duties on that day, so I'm gonna be here at that meeting, but I will be here.
Okay.
So I'm just letting everybody know.
Next town council meeting will be the same day at 6 p.m. The Waukesha Water Wastewater Cooperative Board meeting is Wednesday, August the 16th.
And no more than one of us can go to it, right?
Correct.
It's gonna be over.
And that is at 1 p.m. and that will be in Cedar Key.
Where?
At the water.
What district?
So is anybody definitely planning on going to that? Okay.
I'm gonna discuss that in just a second. All right, what, can I, you want me to just do that now? Sure. Go ahead, okay. We had our initial meeting, which was last Wednesday. Corporation was formed. It was already formed by our agreements, of course. We had an election of officers, and the corporation was put in place formally. We have applied for the grant money, for the startup money for it. And the wheels are rolling, is the best way I can describe this.
And Bronson has a liaison, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
I am the chairman of the board. The vice chairman is Joe Ann, Cedar Key. And Zen Paget is the secretary treasurer. We have 3 board members right now. We hope that will expand as we proceed. Like I said, the wheels are rolling. We will be having a workshop in both Cedar Key and Oak Creek, and I am going to try to get them to do one here also. We've had one in Rosewood for the county, and it went over fantastic. So y'all have all heard Leroy Marshall and then talk to you, but when they come back, they'll give you an update at that time, and that's to accommodate the sunshine. I can't make up the rules on this thing. Mr. Warren and I, it's like a tennis match back and forth with you and I on this thing. And he tells me, please just don't upset the apple cart. We don't need any harm. So I'm having to abide by that situation, so
How
clear
much money do you apply for?
a bunch.
What's much?
Officially 110 million, but then we're gonna be applying for lots of other
Yes.
grants as well. That's just what we've done so far.
10 million.
110 million, correct.
So every governmental office from here to Washington is involved in this thing. So we have endorsement letters from those state U.S. senators, our KMAC, our local representative is on board, governor's office is on board. Everybody says it's a win-win, go. So, and then every time I look up, they're finding more money for me. So I'm just, it's amazing. It's scary, to be perfectly honest with you. Because like I told him, I said, you know, this is, Mr. Warren has been right there with us and helping us guide us with this situation. So I've asked for this workshop because I need y'all to understand what's going on with this. And it's beyond my ability to tell it to you because I don't have all the answers to all the questions. So, like where the money's coming from, we have grants that they're applying for, this one for this amount, this one for another thing, this one for other thing. There will be some activity here in town, starting here pretty soon for allocations of buying properties. All that's coming. Like I say, the wheels are rolling. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be something that's going to be beneficial for all of us. And I made that point that this will be a zero cost factor for us. Without losses.
Are we gonna have like a board to run this thing after? You gotta, or y'all want to be the officer all the time?
No, we would set up our, Mr. Warren, and then we're working on our bylaws right now. With this board will always have a representative on that board.
I mean,
You appoint, in other words, you appoint somebody to that.
okay, will they be even now?
Yes.
Will each city have
Yes.
one
Yes.
person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have had that, has already been, Mr. Warren and I have challenged that already. We've had a couple of situations where we've said there's been people that wanted to be on, so well, we can't have two representatives from Cedar Key and only one from Bronson. That don't work.
No.
So we've already crossed that path and we've threw our hands up.
So you got to vote against one.
Right, and we can't, the reason why, of course, is because of the financial impact it could be on all of us. Plain and simple. With that being said, as soon as updates come, I will bring them to you. Okay? Sue? You have it?
All right. I don't think Oscar's actually on our Zoom, so I'll take it as best I can. I'll represent Verizon. All right, so as we talked about in the second budget workshop today, we signed an agreement with Verizon in 2015 for the use of our tower at the park. It was a 5-year agreement, and the town was getting $1,000 in return for the use of the cell tower. In 2020, we signed another agreement with them. The monthly revenue increased from $1,000 to $1,100. Now what they're doing, we've got a 2-page memo in here from Oscar Polonio of Verizon. And what Verizon is now proposing is a longer lease term. They're proposing a 30-year lease term, which would be renewable every 5 years, so just like we're doing now. But they want to decrease the monthly rent amount from $1,100 that we're getting currently to $900 a month. We're going to decrease it by $200. They would give us a 7.5% increase every 5 years. So if you guys agreed to this, we would get the next increase in 2028. So I called him because I said, this doesn't seem like a great deal for me. I just want to understand why this would be a decrease, and he said that it's because, apparently from what I've heard, this is an ongoing situation with Verizon. but they're saying that they need to upgrade everything from 4G to 5G, and it's gonna cost them, I think the number he gave me was $6.5 billion. So they're looking for money to fund this $6.5 billion. And that's the reason why they want to decrease our monthly revenue from 1,100 to 900. So I said, well, I don't see the council going for that, but it's up to them, of course. And I said, well, what happens if we don't do it? They said, well, then you get put on our naughty list and whatever that means. So I'm putting it before you. He was supposed to be on Zoom to explain it himself, but he's not here. So I don't know what the naughty list entails, but you do remember, I think I brought to you, I don't know, was it maybe 6 months ago, we had somebody that wanted to buy the tower basically from us and give us, I don't know what the number was, like $500,000 or something. So I mean, we have options. I wouldn't say that, this is our only option with this tower. I'm sure there's other places that would be happy to give us money for it. But that's basically the spiel that I got from Oscar.
Naughty list can't tell no more service than what they're giving now, so I can't make a phone call nowhere.
So,
What do they do for, okay, let me rephrase that. What is the benefit for Bronson to have them on that tower other than that monthly?
That is the tower though, correct?
well, it doesn't belong to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
belongs
their
to
tower.
them?
They put it up.
Tower belongs,
Yeah.
property belongs to town.
Property
Yeah.
belongs to
So
the
it
town.
enables you guys to have Verizon services in this area.
And this is my first take back to this, and that is this.
So it's only, basically, they're trying to cut their nose to spite their face, cut the money, remove it, but it's going to only affect their own customers.
No, what is $200 a month gonna do?
My phone bill.
It's gonna hurt them. I mean,
But I mean, if you do it for a longer term, thank you very much, that gives you less ways to renew it and spend the money. And I mean, it's not a good plan.
It didn't sound like it to me either. That's the reason I made the call, because I
And I
didn't.
don't
But
understand
Sue,
how.
How long did they say when you signed the agreement, did you sign the agreement in
and
2020?
like, when does this one go off? When is the 5-year that we under now? When
It
is
was
that
like
off?
in 2025?
You signed it again in 2020, I think, so
Right before we
2025.
started, right now.
Yeah, so it's up in like 2 years anyway.
So they're gonna have to pay us, $1,100 to at least 2025.
I'm not in favor of signing a 30-year
Contract.
I understand it's a long term.
No.
and collecting money.
You know how they say beggars don't be choosers? This one is, the beggar is the chooser.
We be cutting our own toes to do that.
Tell them this for us, and this was, we give all that money to the children, to the park, and so if you want to take the money away from them, send that to you.
Sure.
They don't care who they take.
So,
Yeah.
You're gonna put
It's,
do we need to put that in the form of a motion?
Yeah, you need to take a vote.
Yes, somebody cast it.
Make a motion to not accept this lease agreement with
I'll
Verizon.
second.
We have a motion with a second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried unanimously.
Skip, you're up.
All right. Last year I didn't have to do this, but unfortunately with age, it catches up to you, so readers are one of the things. Good evening, Mayor and fellow council members. For the record, my name is Skip McCall with GFL, Government Contracts Manager, and I also have Kevin Smith, who is our General Manager for our Gainesville hauling locations. Good evening. Okay, so tonight GFL we're requesting the town of Bronson to continue our public-private partnership by extending our solid waste agreement. GFL has valued our business partnership over the past years, and we look forward to continue supporting the town's events and employee appreciation initiatives. We look forward to continuing our relationship, and we are committed to providing superior service in the safest manner possible. So tonight we're here, we're asking for your consideration to extend our agreement for an additional 5-year renewal, which is in the contract, so we are able to do that. The other thing that we looked at, we recognized this past year, actually Miss Sue reached out to me and she's, I guess, made us known that the town would wanted to change their collection days from Tuesday, Friday to Monday, Thursday.
No, we were
Y'all
hoping
want to change it.
Yes,
Hoping to, right?
I got you. Hoping to, I got it.
And we'll let Kevin, he's the operations part of that. That's why he's here tonight.
Okay.
So, but in saying that, we went back, kind of to the drawing board and looked at our rate schedule and the commercial pricing matrix and the residential rate. And essentially what it comes down to, when you look at the residential rate and the commercial combined, it's about a 10% adjustment overall, okay? We've been seeing this in our industry over the past 18 months. Bids that are going out for bid, they're coming back with anywhere between a 40 to 60% adjustment in rates, increase, higher rates, because obviously inflation and things we've been dealing with over the past 18 months to 24 months. So I say that to caution you because it's not anything that any other company that will come up and tell you otherwise. It's real. But with saying that, we really appreciate your consideration to continue our public-private partnership. And at this point, I can bring Kevin up if you'd like to hear about the operational side and how we're going to transition.
I got a question for you. I have a question. Councilman Everson, when he was here last, he brought up, when I'm basically bringing up, about the trash cans when you set them back down. They're not set down, they're just laying down.
That would be
And
great.
also,
Yeah, I'll let Kevin.
and also, the debris that now we have public works people to pick
That's
up.
what I mean.
Yeah, that's his question.
Yeah, this is his question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So it has been brought to my attention a couple of times, right? The containers not being placed in the exact position that they were when they were serviced, right? And I'm a very transparent person, so I'm not going to say that on occasion things may have been knocked over by my guys, and that's something that I talked with Sue and the leadership for the town with about us rectifying. However, there is another element. Once they are empty and the lids are open, when vehicles do pass by from time to time, they do fall over. I've instructed my staff that whenever we do see that, to be able to try to remediate that as much as we possibly can to be able to pick them back up. The last thing I'm going to do is try to paint a false perfect picture of what my guys do every Tuesday and Friday here. But every time that there is a concern with that matter, I try to address it as immediately as I possibly can. And then when it comes to the debris, we have a truck that comes through on off days of services to be able to try to assist in some of the road cleanup, knowing that the debris does come out. And if there is certain areas that have been identified more, that my guys to pay more attention to, definitely glad, open to it, to be able to send that team in here to pick that debris up. So, that's
What's your policy nowadays of, let's say your guys are emptying the garbage and suddenly everything, for some, whatever reason it is, everything flies off or things fly off?
Yes, that should be picked up by my drivers. And when it is not, and I do know that from time to time that does happen, please, I have my contact information with Sue and her team there. She does a great job of communicating out to me. And when those occurrences do happen, I'll facilitate those calls myself to make sure that it's rectified. So it sounds to me that they may be happening more than I think that they are, and I do apologize.
The reason I'm asking is because last year we had that incident. I actually stopped the truck. I pointed out the bag that had fallen off, and I have pictures, Sue has the pictures.
Yes.
And the guy basically, at my face, said, well, people are not putting things in plastic bags. It was obviously a big bag that
Yes,
had
ma'am.
fallen, and this man refused to go and pick it up.
Yes, ma'am. And
So,
that's what the situation that happened last year, about 6 months to last year ago, correct? Yes, he's, well,
okay.
not all team
know
members.
what's happening, but-
Yes, ma'am.
But I tell you, I sit on my front porch and I watched the garbage man when he came, and he dumped the garbage.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's no reason for, if he was dumping it in the back of him, I could understand.
You talking about in the front?
Yeah, he dump
Yes,
it in the front. But he spilled some of the garbage
And he don't get out the truck, don't stop, he keep right on riding. And when he come back by, he still didn't pick it up. So I had to go pick it up my own self,
That's
you know. So, and that actually happened.
Yeah, but it should, yes, sir. My point is, I mean, it shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't, no.
And with that, that's definitely a staffing issue with my folks. And I've been up in front of this board before. I've even sat across from the suit. And I am definitely a man of my word. So when those things do happen, please notify her and I will immediately jump on the same person. And again, I do apologize for any inconvenience to the listener.
So you'll know who the driver was.
Yeah, we narrowed it down. One great thing about servicing here, the same driver that does the residential services is also the same driver that does the commercial business services as well. So not a lot of people that I got to pick from, that is more or less just a conversation that I did have with one individual.
Do the trucks have like a number or something?
Yes, ma'am, they do. But again, because we only service this area now on Tuesdays and Fridays, I don't know.
You know.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
no,
Just like a school
driver.
bus schedule. I know exactly where they're at. Yes, sir.
Who's gonna call her about the trash that threw away for her? How she
Well,
gonna?
if you see,
If they pick it up your garbage, you should call them.
yes.
That's what he's saying.
But I will, to your point, you shouldn't have to do
Well,
that. You
yeah.
shouldn't have to do it. That's understandable. And then, on that, we do have a supervisor who should be spending more of his time here anyway, but I do not think that that's happening from the conversation. And I will give that myself. Because we're only here twice a week to do the residential and the commercial services. And right now, the current schedule is Tuesdays and Fridays, and I will talk to that gentleman as well to make sure he's got through it. Because I mean, we have a great partnership together. Yes, sir.
One question. What is the proposed 33% increase for residential rates? The 33% increase for residential rates?
Yeah, so combined for residential and commercial, it was about 10%. The residential was like 32, 33%, that's correct.
So the residential is paying for the commercial?
No, it's a 3%, it's a 10%
Yeah, I
altogether.
see, I see.
3 on the commercial and
Yeah.
then 7.
Yeah.
But you gotta realize the residents, the one that has less money than
Yeah,
commercial.
that's what I'm saying. So I do have a couple.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
So, number one, do we get a discount for doing your billing? Number one. And number two, you're familiar with this route, right?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so.
Not on the streets, but.
No, okay. So aside from 24, 27, and 337, would we be able to get a discount if we were to get our residents to put all their trash on the same side of the road?
No.
And, if we couldn't get a discount, could we get a recycling day added in? And you would be able to come back with the route and tell us, which side of the road to put them on, so that you would only have to go down those roads once versus twice. And not talking about 24, which is Archer Road,
Yes, ma'am.
27 or 337.
Which are the main roads.
Yeah, those
You're
are
talking about the
the
residential outlets.
Yes. So like for example, I live on Boundary Street.
Yep.
So if everybody's garbage can had to be on the left side, just like mailboxes have to be
Yes.
on one side, if everybody with that hope,
As far
or
as timing wise, is that what you're getting
Yes.
at as far as cost effective?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that operationally we would have to take a look at to see if there's any financial savings there. I mean, I'm not probably able to provide that tonight. We don't know as far as being down efficiency wise what that actually would look like. So, and what was your other question?
About billing. We would get a
Yes,
discount.
okay, so the billing part of that is, when we look at this contract, we build our price in knowing that you guys facilitate the billing. So it's already factored in to the rate itself. So that kind of answers your question.
what about recycling?
And how much would it be to
Yeah.
add a recycling day?
Yeah, so that was a conversation I think we had, was it a year ago?
Year and a half ago.
And we came and we presented.
But I think you said that we would have to get rid of one of the trash days to do the recycling day.
We could have done it however you guys would have liked us to put that together.
How much would it cost to just add a recycling
You know, I
day?
have to go back and look. I don't know if we actually proposed a number at that meeting. I think we just talked about, and I think
It was like,
It was
it
expensive.
was like $12 or $15
And that's just
a
for
month
plastics,
for
because
one bed, for one
Because Levy County doesn't take glass anymore, right?
I tell you what I would like to see happen. I would like to see, if you guys are gonna pick up the garbage for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, set plan, and after the time is up, everybody has to, rebid the job. So that gives other people a chance, and then gives us to get the lower people, you know what I'm saying? It makes it better for the council, you know what I mean? It should be better if it was here that way, rather than say, well, we need X amount of more money, and we in contract with you. I mean, you know, when we in contract with you, when the contract is up, I feel like everybody should have to bid it, whether it be just you all, or 2 more garbage people, or 10 more, or whatever. We could pick the better one. See, I mean, for the price wise.
Yeah, and to your point, I'll just again say what I said earlier, and not discrediting your point at all. It's brutal out there. I mean, these communities that are going out for bid, she can tell you, 40 to 60% increases. I mean, it is real. I mean, it's because, again, I keep going back to inflation. You know, fuel's starting to taper off a little bit, so that's a good thing. But these bids that have been going out lately, either small towns, cities, county governments, they've been coming back brutally more than what we're even asking for renewal. And that's just, I'm just being transparent with you.
So it says, effective December 1st, the fuels surcharge, or that was added before, that's gonna go away?
Correct. What we ended up doing is we dissolved that into the renewal, so that kind of doesn't have to come back and ask for, you know, any kind of fuel going forward. So we just basically put that in into the renewal proposal.
And all your trucks run off of fuel, or?
That's correct. Yep. All of our trucks are CNG, compressed natural gas vehicles.
That's fuel and diesel or compressed natural gas. So compressed natural gas is measured in therms, which at one point in time, I want to say it's all the way up to $2.39 per therm. So of course, because of inflation that's went down somewhat on fuel, but still it's higher than average.
And we do service, by the way, the city of Williston, so we're your neighbor to the east here. So it's good that we're close in proximity, and of course, you know, if you're not familiar with our home site, it's in Gainesville, which is 25 minutes. 25 minutes away. Yeah, just north of here.
So y'all don't dump in the landfill?
No, we go to Levy County. Yeah, transfer.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all wrong.
Yep.
Gary, what's the current residential rate is what?
The proposed rate?
Not the current.
Current rate, $7.48.
And it's going up to what?
$9.93.
What?
748.
So to give you actual numbers, so right now we're paying $3,291.20 a month for residential. It'd go up to $4,369.20 for residential. $3,243 a month. And then commercial is going to go from $10,495.82 to $10,810.70. So 3% commercial, 33% residential.
I just can't see how the residential is going to put up so much more than the commercial.
So what's the total amount that's going up between the two?
10%.
10%.
No, I'm saying the dollar figure.
Yep, total. So right now we're paying $165,044.24. It's going to go to $182,158.80. So roughly $17,000 a year.
You can't do any better on the residential.
We could switch it.
Yeah,
7%
because,
on the residential and the 3%.
the amount of trash you're taking from a commercial building versus the amount of trash you're taking from a resident is so different.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's a different collection program, you know, for residential, it's, you know, because it's a little bit different than the commercial truck. So typically you I'm not saying that's normal, but it's something that we look at, and we base our model off of what that line of business is doing. And that's where it kind of fell.
Well, and to that point as well, we talk about twice a week collection, right? So we go to households twice a week versus that, I'm sure, with the power of Google, we would look at and do a comparison of the different areas. When we do that, we really need to look at what the serviceability frequency is throughout a week for those other municipalities that we do these comparisons for, right? So, in theory, when you think about that store across the street filling up a 6-yard, you're right, like, man, if you look at how many people go in and out of there, but to fill up a 96-gallon twice a week is outside of the norm, I'm being honest. But it's where we're at right now, but that's a different caveat when we do go on and we start comparing the other municipalities.
And the rate structure is
Apples to
different.
oranges, it's not apples to apples.
Yeah, so the rate, exactly, the rate structure is different. So like, for example, you have your residential rate of X, and then you have your commercial rate of X, because the commercial for a small 2-yard, they're paying around $55 a month. Okay, so they're paying for a 2-yard, whatever, once a week collection. So their rate structure is set up differently than like your residential type household. Different containers, different trucks, different, whole different.
But I definitely want to discredit. I said that I'm a father of 5, so I completely understand the struggle that each household is going off of. And those things are incremental. Any, when you look at it as a whole, has some type of an impact. So I do this with a question.
Okay. Question is, do you want to stay with this contract, or did we test the water?
Do you want to let Dana speak now?
Dana, you want to speak? Come in. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana Miller. I'm Director of Government Affairs for Waste Pro. We are Florida-based and privately owned since 2001, and our local office is located right here in Levy County in Phoenix Springs. So you probably know that. Our division manager there is Tripp Lancaster. That's probably a name that is somewhat familiar to some of you. We do service several municipalities in the Tri-County area. Chiefly, is the Tri-County, so Trenton is another one, Ingles. We would love to come back as Bronson's community partner and have the opportunity to provide top quality service to your residents and businesses and support your local causes. I don't normally mention this, but I'm going to change hats for a second. I'm actually also an elected official. I'm a commissioner for the city of Alachua. So I understand what it's like to sit right where you are and have to make these kind of decisions. Our responsibility as elected officials is to decide on behalf of our constituents what's best for our city and consider the whole picture. Service, community involvement, communication between the city and your vendor, and price is the whole picture. In saying that, I would encourage this board to consider advertising for RFP, for request for proposal. Maybe also ask for an option, since you are 2 times a week, maybe ask for a 1 time a week option so you can have options in front of you to see pricing options. Skip is right. It's not something that putting it out for RFP, or even as you heard, renewing, you're not going to have a reduction in price. That is a true statement. But again, I go back to considering the whole picture as our responsibility. Again, I encourage you to consider that, and I'm also available for questions. Thank you.
Ms. B, do you remember why they switched? Why we went from Waste Pro to GFL? Kind of sort of. The short version?
Not to put you on the spot.
That came down to numbers.
No, well, the council just decided that.
They was moving on? Got it.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was a different council at the time, and then, so when new council came in, they decided we was gonna try something different. And
Or was it less money? Do you remember, was it less money or better service or, don't know?
I don't think it was any less, it was just a different service. Because all of it's expensive, no matter what you do, everything's gonna be.
Mr. Mayor, what does this contract end for?
December the 1st.
This year?
Well, the new contract,
November
the
30th.
new, the rates.
That's this year.
November 30th of this year.
That's from this contract?
So, Mr. Dogan, do you offer recycling?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how much extra it would be to add recycling for Bronson?
If I quoted a number, I wouldn't want to be held to it, you know, without looking at, are you doing staying 2 times a week, are you gonna go once a week? Traditionally, I mean, I'm gonna make a general statement rather than specific to Bronson. I mean, if you're adding recycling pickup to the route, because it's another, obviously it's separate route, completely separate truck. It'd probably be, and I'm not operations, so Kevin is probably gonna throw darts at me.
We'll just make sure you're on the same page.
Kevin
We're
would
just
know more
listening.
than, Kevin would know, yeah.
I'm just ops, I'm not a salesman.
It would probably be, oh gosh, let's see, disposal is about 40%. I'm gonna say 20% of the price,
I have a question.
but I'm not ops, I'm not operations, so like I said, I'm only to my apologies.
I have a question. This is going, so your contract ends November 30th, right? So why don't we do or have exactly what Councilman Schuler said, to have a bid put in and see who will offer the best service at the best price?
That's what they're doing now. That's why
Yeah,
they're here.
this is not, but you have not heard hers, is what I'm trying to
Is this hers
say.
right here? Whose is this?
No, that's
This
Gene.
Oh, okay.
You only have one. What I'm trying to say is, why not open that bid, starting now might be a good idea to do it, instead of, and I'm also not understanding how, when we have a contract, and I know I raised that last time, and I was told, you know, it is what it is, but we have a contract from this date to this date. I do not understand why we have to have somebody come again in front of you and ask for
Because this contract
more
is
money.
going to be up in November.
Yeah, because the new rates
No,
wouldn't
no,
start.
last year they came up and asked for more money, for everything to be raised.
That was for the
Yeah.
fuel.
It's in their contract that they can ask
You
for.
know, it was always something like that. When you have a contract, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm an individual, I don't have a company, that I'm thinking this way. But I do believe, honestly, that Councilman Schuler is right, that we should open let's not put we, you should open a bid and see the quality price who has the better contract offering.
Let me play devil's advocate for just a minute. So if we go out to bid, because I've never gone through this before, so if we go out to bid and you guys bid, Waste Pro bids, whoever bids, you won't be bidding this price is what you're telling us, correct? You're gonna bill us higher if it's considered a new contract now.
I'll put, this is the easy answer to your question. We have control over this at our local level.
Okay?
Our local office, Kevin, our general manager, we have control over it. So we're good by going this route.
Okay.
If it goes out to bid, all bids have to be approved through basically corporate. So now they got to look at it, and it provides another layer to where they're going to look at, we're not a not-for-profit business, right? So we're a corporation, and they're going to look at it as, what are your margins? And they're going to look at that, and they're going to basically say, hey, we maybe need to get more. So I think the easiest answer I can provide you, for transparency purposes, they've got to look at it, and they're, like, at the end of the day, it's kind of where we need to be. We've kind of lost control of being able to put this proposal together for you guys at that point.
I'll throw one more piece of information, and again, this is obviously for the council, but just want to give you an idea, because I live in Newberry and is serviced by Waste Pro, and I have, just like you guys, I have Monday, Thursday is our collection day, and then on Monday, they also collect recycling, and I pay $19 a month.
Yeah.
So it is more, because we charge $10.92. So just keep that on.
Disposal is also included in that price, though, where
Right.
here, there's no disposal.
Gotcha.
So it's relative.
Gotcha.
Which that's another thing.
I would love recycling for you guys too, trust me. That's why Skip and I started talking about this a year and a half ago.
I mean, what would be the possibility of just having like, instead of going place to place for recycling, having a site where you had a truck that was just came and pick? Like say we had a recycling bin like right here by the town, and everybody knew that's where it was, because they should, but not everybody recycles. So that's not gonna be something that every resident is gonna do it, but if I wanna take part in it, there should be somewhere where I can take stuff, and the truck comes once a week, like the commercial truck comes once a week and picks up that stuff.
May I come in? Now you're talking to me. So what I would highly suggest, right, is just a suggestion. There's 2 points I want to make. I'll go on recycling first. When you do not have a separated commodity, right, you guys represent your constituents. We also have to know that this is something that they have never done before. So we have to, what I would suggest is to do it in stages and waves. And there is an opportunity, right, if we were to look at something like a pilot program, to be able to gain that momentum for the residents to really understand what it's going to take, because the word recycling can mean a bunch of different things depending upon what facility it does go to, right? So in order to fulfill those, that's what I would suggest. I would suggest, to your point, possibly look at something, maybe a certain part of town, work with the school board, be able to get some of those marketing ideas from the schools directly to the households, because that's where it's gonna hook right there, where people can understand it. Because when your kid brings something in, you always pay attention when you look at it. But it is not just a generalized idea saying, hey, we're just gonna do it, because there are also some things that neither one, GFL nor Dana shared with you, is when it gets contaminated, it costs money. And it can get very expensive.
Talking about the recycling truck?
Yes, because the expectation, or to Skip's point of the model that was laid out, right, of what the cost is going to be, just like how they do with the bus routes, is that it's a certain expectation. And then when you get there, and there's something other than what's supposed to be in there,
They're gonna throw it away anyway.
well, but then it needs to be what they like to call diverted. And that diverted per ton rate is substantially higher. It's almost kind of like a fee to be like, you should pay attention and know what's going into these trucks.
Right.
So again, I'm not here to weigh any direction, but I do want to state the facts. The last thing that I would like to present is, if it does go out to bid, is that you don't know what those numbers are going to look like. And if you're hearing from both individuals that it's going to be higher, there is a good possibility that whatever that rate is, that when this bid process starts, it may be higher than where you guys are at right now currently, just because of the market. So I just... True. Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna say, I might be blind, but I don't see GFL or Waste Pro signs at our schools, and I don't see them like pitching in like they do in Gainesville or other areas.
Sure. I can address that too, just real quick. So for many years, we were involved with the Blueberry Festival, and we were supporters of that, being on Saturday and parade.
No,
But
guys,
if you-
here, here.
Yeah, but if you guys want us to be participating in schools and those things of that nature, that's what Kevin and I just talked about.
Yeah, and Mrs. Phillips, all due respect, we were just here last year with their open top, and you had to clean out with one of these. So, you know, as much as we talk and communicate to each other, we are always willing. Always.
Okay.
Oh, good, because I got a banner letter, I'll be sending to you.
Yeah.
From this
$250.
And that's fine, but that's fine. I mean, even, you know, I forgot his football coach that left before this game was in.
Oh, how?
Yeah, Coach Holland, he coached my boys.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, man. As much as I know my competitor came up here, well, I'm as local as you can get.
But we can
Right
get
down the
tax
street,
from in the
I got 132
homecoming
employees
parade, right?
that live in it, serve in this community. So though the name may be Canadian, the individuals that work down the street are local.
Right.
Boys and girls that like all day. And their coaches, their priests, there are a lot more things than just garments, women, and men that are at my facility that's there. And anytime that I do know that we need to help and support a township or organization, especially for the youth, we're right there. So yes, ma'am, please send it to me.
Yeah, can I do it when it calls?
You're good. Exactly where I was going. Like, look, you call me
And we're gonna
anytime.
need a trash truck and a homecoming parade.
Oh,
With the other team name on it.
City of Wilson had two of them in the 4th of July.
Hey, but where was ours?
We just gotta ask.
I made it love the big
I gotta
truck.
know.
Okay.
Touch the trucks,
You
look
tell us
for
when and where, and we'll make it happen.
Blow up. Yes,
Question. I'm for bidding out, as Councilman Shea was saying, and I think their renewal is November, December, am I right?
November 30th.
So where I would look at it, this is me, I would look at the performance. If it picks up and get better, then I don't want to have it.
Mr. Elijah, are you gonna be okay with a $20 increase on your water bill if the contract goes up? Because that's what we're gonna lose.
If their new contract is $30,000 more, you're gonna pay another $7, $8 a month for your garbage bill.
I'm talking about putting other people out for this job.
That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
If we don't agree to their renewal contract and then it comes back, instead of us paying them $170,000, we gotta pay them $210,000, or even Waste Pro
Pay who?
$210,000. GFL or Waste Pro, any of them, anybody. If their new contract is $200,000, then y'all gonna get charged, y'all gotta get charged for the other $30,000. We gotta make that up somehow.
The pick up trash?
Yeah.
This offer they made, is this for a number of years? If it's sent out, it's 5 years?
1 year.
So they're actually asking for a new contract.
Yeah, I would be asking.
Contract.
Not a new contract, just a renewal. Nothing's changing. Yeah.
All right, pleasure of the council.
So that rate's gonna be for the same, for 5 years every year?
No, it's like it has been previously. There's like annual CPI adjustments. Yeah, like normally 2%, 2.5%.
Do they have to, do we have to do it tonight? Can they table it and discuss it and come back within the next month?
So they're asking you. They're asking
Yeah,
you.
no, it's fine, because
We're
we're
good.
on
I
contract
mean,
until
We're at
December.
the pleasure of the council.
So,
Now, there's a 2%.
All right, it doesn't change until
yeah,
then.
we gonna have to rebid until November if we don't
Yeah.
keep the contract.
You got to
Right,
be
so
December,
you're
right?
to do it before that.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that, we can table it until the next meeting to give everybody time to kind of think on it.
Well, you actually got until December. Contract don't end.
Yeah, but if we don't, if we decide, let's say to rebid, we want to make sure we have time to do that. If we wait until November 15th, whatever, to make that decision, then you
I know, but that's what I was saying. You
Okay.
still got time
Right.
to actually do both.
Yeah.
You know, even if you decide to bid, you still got time to keep working on it, or you got time to decide, is this a good deal for me? So you have both of them. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Skip. So if they do go out to bid, and you guys bid a new contract, but our contract is not up, can we sign our renewal contract? Or if we go out to bid
No,
and you do a
yeah,
bid
that-
that voids it?
No,
That
you
was
can't,
my
you
question.
can't need it too.
That's right. Can't have both.
I wanted to just clarify,
Yeah, no,
because I knew we would have
it's
this
either one or the
conversation.
other.
That was a very good question.
Thank you,
I
Attorney.
would make a motion to table this until the second meeting next month. Not the first meeting, but the second.
which one's that date?
Do we have,
First, or just
21st. The first meeting will be 21st. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not thinking about us, I'm thinking about them having, Dana, you got enough time to do a bid in that
Yes, sir.
60 days?
Yes, sir.
You got.
Yeah,
But if he doesn't-
I'm just looking at logistics now.
She's saying if the next,
Contract voids.
Yes.
If we do a bid, then we are guaranteed to pay more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
he didn't make a motion to go to bid, he made a motion to table it, the next meeting to make a decision.
Table
Yeah.
to the 24th.
So,
And I'm just talking about the logistics here, I'm not talking about the time, that's all I'm talking about.
The 21st.
Okay, I have a motion on the table.
I second. Yeah, I second.
Properly moved to second, all those in favor? All right, we will table this till the second week in, second meeting in August. Get me right. Second meeting in August, which is going to be the 21st. And we'll let you know. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you okay?
I think we all time.
We fixed to take care of that. Thank you guys.
You should be getting an email probably tomorrow.
Yes, yes, please do so.
Thank you.
Get your red ready.
I'm sitting
We
home.
ready.
All right,
Next, all right, next up is resolution 23-16. This is the preliminary rate resolution for the fire assessment. So just to let you know, obviously, Council Controller and Council Controllers weren't here for this, but we have the fire assessment that we put in place back in 2021, and it requires us to do a new preliminary rate resolution every year. So again, we confirmed with them that the rates are not changing. Residential will remain at the 129 per dwelling. Commercial remains at 2 cents per square foot, and vacant land remains the same at $8 per parcel. It also requires that we do a public hearing, which is scheduled for Monday, September 11th at 6 p.m. Basically, that's the gist of it.
Okay, pleasure of the council, and let us have a vote on this to proceed with all these process. Correct?
Correct.
All right. We'll entertain a motion.
The motion, you need a motion for us to adopt this resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
She gotta make a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we adopt the preliminary assessment resolution.
Yes, sir. Okay. There you go. All right. Sufficient. All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried.
All right, next up is resolution 23-17. I'll read the title for the record. A resolution of the town of Bronson and the county of Levy adopting and invoking the application of section 66-1 of the Levy County Code of Ordinances to addresses in the town of Bronson pursuant to section 1-5 of the Levy County Code of Ordinances and effective immediately upon adoption. So the reason this came to be is Curtis brought to my attention recently that we have houses in Bronson that do not have, we'll call them 911 addresses on them, which is beyond, I can't even believe it's an option.
They're incorrect.
They're incorrect.
Yeah. It's the same way with the school. For the longest, our school had 2 different addresses, but our 911 address was like Ishii, and then we had a different thing. And so it took a while for us to get all that corrected. So, but now we use the 911 address. Before, I don't know what.
I mean, we
we first moved over there, it wasn't like that.
We have houses that don't have anything, like they're not identified, which
Right.
obviously makes it difficult when we have new people in public works, they're trying to read meters. I can't even imagine what the fire department must have to go to if they're trying to find a house and it has no numbers on it. Like, that's beyond me.
Well, it's not that bad if you do what you want before and after this. Narrow it down.
Everybody should have their address listed on their residence. So we went to the county, Attorney Warren did, because they obviously have it in their code of ordinances that you have to have an address on your house for public safety reasons. So what this is doing is this would basically piggyback off of them and allow them to enforce these addresses, even though we're in corporate limits of Bronson. Basically, they can enforce it for us, rather than us having to do it separately.
Has to be on the house or like mailbox counts, or just it has to be on the house.
I believe it has to be on the house.
Basically, it needs to be on the house, because some addresses, the mailbox is on, is
Yeah,
across the street.
Yeah,
Right.
so you can see.
You know, so if you don't have a house,
I
then
know
it's
the county
still.
requires it even before you can start building your house, you gotta have an address.
County ordinance says that if any incorporated municipality within the county wants them to enforce it, you have to invite them, so to speak, with a
So we
resolution.
invite you.
We're inviting.
That's what the resolution would be.
Exactly, that's what it's all about.
Oh. I'm good with that.
All right, pleasure of the council.
Yes, Terry?
Yeah, right now, you don't have a posted 911 address at your park yet.
We
It
do now.
is.
When was that posted?
Last
Last
week.
week.
Right.
You got
But it's
to
today.
Okay, did we just have that conversation?
Gotta get out.
That was the
Yeah,
last,
That was at the last meeting.
yeah,
I have seen.
last meeting.
Okay, where's it at?
You know, but before everybody come out,
At the
you
entrance.
say
There's one on each entrance.
you couldn't get a house phone without going to 911 people and tell them what your
I
address and
remember
all
that.
that.
I remember
You
that.
couldn't get
Go
them.
in again?
But since they got cell phones, see, that stopped being an issue after
It's a
everybody
blue
got
sign,
cell
blue
phones.
and white.
You don't need that.
Yeah, it's a,
When you go in the house?
yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we, invite the county to enforce the county ordinance, regarding addresses, 911 addresses. Is that correct?
Accept resolution 23-7.
Oh. Okay, I make a motion that we, accept resolution 23-17.
Second.
While we move to second, on 23-17 resolution, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same motion carries.
We do that in a letter, where we send them a letter telling them that we passed that, or what?
Send them the resolution.
I'll send it over to Wilbur. All right, next up is a quote from, I keep calling it Unicode, it's now called Civic Plus. This is for full-service supplementation subscription. So, like I talked about in the budget workshop today, we currently pay Civic Plus for only Unicode for several things. One is to codify our ordinances, which again, we just did everything from 2009 to 2022 last year. And then we pay them for the use of Unicode, so we store our agendas and our meeting minutes and resolutions and newsletters, all that stuff is on there. We have between 300 and 400 documents, 364 documents on there to be exact. So what they're proposing now is, apparently the way they do it currently, when you codify an ordinance, it's based on like number of pages and tables and graphics, and there's a whole chart, and apparently it's very complicated from what they say. I mean, we've only done this once, so I don't have a whole frame of reference here, but what they're basically proposing is to give us a flat rate of $1,859 a year. As I recall,
That's extremely cheap.
yeah, I think it was about $300 or $400 in ordinances, I recall, to codify.
There's, some of your bigger cities are paying thousands upon thousands of dollars because of the amount their
Ordinances.
ordinances are doing. They're paying $10,000 a month.
Yeah, so if we do at least.
Yeah, if you do 4 or 5 a year, you're already there. Last year, we paid them $4,372.46. This year, we're already at $2,222.46.
So it sounds like a good
So
deal.
this is right in the average. So I would recommend doing this. I mean, it makes sense, then you don't have to worry about, how many pages is this ordinance?
I'm sorry, it's not directly my business, but how much are they charging?
Right now,
No, what is it proposing?
so it's got 3 different things in it. So one is our subscription to them, basically we pay a subscription fee of $399 a year. $1,859 would be their full service subscription, so that's to codify all the ordinances. And then there's online code hosting of $1,026. We would pay the $399 and the $1,026 no matter what.
Oh, okay.
But they're saying to add this $1,859 to do the codification.
All right, I'm sorry. The only reason I asked is I saw the bottom line was $3,300, but that included the option.
That's everything.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's cheaper than what we paid last year. We paid $4,300 last year, and now we would be paying $3,200. So it would be less expensive.
What's the new name?
Civic Plus is their.
How long is the contract?
Uh,
Like you renew it yearly?
What's the new renew annually on each anniversary of the effective date.
It is a very good deal.
I make a motion to accept the quote from Civic Plus.
Properly moved and seconded, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same motion carries.
All right, next up is just a discussion piece. In your packet is resolution 2019-12 regarding burial plot fees. So this has come up several times recently. When people purchase, anyway, this is more for the public, when people purchase a plot in the Jim Milton Cemetery right now, there's 3 different prices. If you live in town limits in the town of Bronson, you pay $200 for that plot. If you live in Levy County, so outside of Bronson, let's say Chiefland or Williston, you would pay $500. And if you're outside of Levy County, no matter what, state of Florida, state of Colorado, you pay $750. The reason I wanted to bring this to your attention is those are very, very low plot fees. I did some research, just some quick down and dirty research on Google. The average plot is between $2,000 and $5,000. I just wanted to see if you guys are happy with those fees, because those are very inexpensive. To get a $200 plot is very inexpensive.
Why, I got a question.
It's not $2,000 everywhere.
That's just an average. I mean, I'm giving you.
Big cities,
I want-
yeah.
Right.
I want to ask something that Mr. Elijah was actually going to ask. Is can you purchase more than one?
Right.
Block.
Because to me, I mean, that's just me thinking, like,
So you mean like you want to purchase plots for your whole family? Like you want to purchase 5 plots?
If they're in
for your family?
Bronson, you pay the Bronson price. Because they used to do, family plots. Family would go and say, look, I want one for me and my wife and my kids, and they would buy the whole thing. And then, like somebody, I guess, from out of town, I'm
But it
sure they
seems-
could.
it seems like with the 3 prices, you wouldn't be able to buy more than one.
Yeah, but you could, but if they're from out of town, they'd have to pay that out of town.
But let's say, I'm not
See, it's-
hoping this is, you bought one for you and Justice, and that would be $400, it's $200. Justice moves away and comes back, he's not gonna pay that fee, because you already bought it.
Yeah, but then I could still get somebody else for $750, right?
Well, no, because you have a contract stating this for Justice Phillips.
Yeah.
Oh, so the contract is only for who you buy?
Right,
Okay,
right,
okay,
right.
we good.
I know in Miami, they were selling
$5,000.
$5,000 to $10,000.
You can't get
But
one.
that's where it's no property, that you can't buy property in Miami.
Sell them down there and move up here.
And Beth literally said that when we were having this conversation, Beth, who just moved here from Miami, she said, I bought my plot down there, it was $5,000. So when she saw these fees, she was like, what?
And that was one of the reasons that we did go up on the out of town, because it was only like, I think, $300 was the premium for out of town, but it wasn't that much. But it was low at first, and so, but they was coming in, everybody was coming in from out of town.
Right, why do you
Wanted to
get
get buried, so,
Right.
now the out of towners, you could go
I
up.
got a lot of family buried in a cemetery in North Florida, and their prices are about double these. But I don't know if I would want to go up on the residents of Bronson prices. Because if we were going to go up, I would rather go up on the people that were not from here, or are not here.
Like non-county residents.
The only problem I have with the prices is this right here. If somebody lived all their life here in Bronson, and it's not nothing really economically where you need to, if you're gonna work in Gainesville, you might as well stay in Gainesville, or at least rent something in Gainesville. Okay, so that disqualifies you to be buried for the Bronson prize.
Yeah.
Okay, you take a guy, lived in Miami all his life, move up here, stay up here 2 months and die, and he can get buried for the Bronson prize.
Right.
Is that right or wrong?
Right.
See,
And
that ain't right.
Because we haven't defined in this resolution what a residence is. Do you have to live here for 6 months? Do you have to live here for a year?
And then you're asking us to then,
I mean,
but then you're asking us, how do I verify that?
Right.
I have no way of verifying that. Right. And then the other thing you have to remember too, and just because I played the lab.
Paperwork on
Isn't it
But you don't amount is, huh?
Would you be able to go back to the driver's license? Would you have to
I can
have
only
your
go
own
back to the
driver's-
driver's license that you showed me.
But I mean, for the person proving it, they would be able to bring their driver's license when it was first, you know, when they were
Yeah,
first
it
issued.
depends on
that
But
the
paper.
like, so for example, my first issued driver's license says Palm Beach County.
See, driving license
No,
don't do
I'm
it,
saying
Virginia, because if your driving license should renew the year you move up here, you gonna have a license,
Yeah, but
you
you
know what
have
I'm
a
saying?
few days to change your license.
I mean, should be like this, you just have to bring something with their address saying if they live, they have a light bill or something bill or something in their name, you know, this person.
But if they got to move here and they have water, we should have a record that, well, the person been had water for 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, whatever.
I mean, when you did some
That's the
research,
only problem I have with it, is where people have lived here all their lives and have to move because they had a job that was in Gainesville and they moved to Gainesville. But when they died, they got to pay the Gainesville price rather than the Bronson price.
But still cheaper than what they would pay to be buried in Gainesville. though.
And my thing is, I understand completely what you're saying because you feel for the residents. But at the same time, you also you need to remember, you're paying your staff to maintain that cemetery. Everybody's $15 an hour. The overtime, you have a water bill. You pay a salary to people to maintain that. Part of that income needs to go back into the city. If not, you're just going to continuously lose money.
So,
It'd be like if you're a city resident, you're only going to pay a $25 water fee, even though our fees and the amount of manpower we spend, $5,000 a month. Those are just figures.
so is there no longer a board over that cemetery?
There has
Set
been,
the prices, what we said.
there has been since we've
We
been here.
used to have one.
I would
Yeah,
say, I would say this.
that's why I was asking, was because the board used to like refuse people to be buried in that cemetery.
Right. We have one,
I just want to say.
and we still do. We just haven't met, and we need to do that.
You will price yourself out of existence. And what I'm saying is this. Years ago, we had it happening in different places in the county. Not just here, in different places. And they said that there were people selling, they would move up here. They had a lot somewhere else, which that's normal, you know, if you got family in Miami, but you moved to Bronson, but you won't be buried here. You decided to get buried here because of the fact that you're talking about the difference between $200 and $5,000 or $10,000. They turn around and sell those plots down there, and they come up here and buy them up here. And what they do is they buy a whole block of them. And Jim Milton Cemetery's only got so many plots in it. Something to think about.
Well, you got a plot, you got a whole area that's wide open.
Hey, but it's still a limited amount.
Right.
That's just like each one of us. We've only got a limited amount of time. I don't know what that is, but it's a limited amount.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, I know Virginia said you would refuse. Being a government, what causes you to refuse somebody from being buried in a government-owned cemetery without being discriminating or anything like that?
Yeah.
So you have to be careful.
I don't remember anybody being refused.
My best friend
No.
was refused.
Huh?
My best friend was refused.
Really?
Yes, she was. And
Through the town?
She buried at that other cemetery.
Through
because
the
of-
town?
No, it wasn't
Through
through
the
the town,
board.
it was through the board. Her name is Hazel Crowder.
Who?
Hazel Crowder.
How many years that's been?
She died in '99.
Oh, I don't know about that, I wasn't even on the
They
council.
refused her to be buried there.
But they didn't have a board back then, not in '99, there wasn't a board. Cause Jim Milton wasn't a government owned. Jim Milton was a private cemetery. It was given to the Blights, by this guy. He gave him this land, and then they started this cemetery, that's what it was given for. And then it was,
Can we buy extra land to make it bigger?
well, more land came, people started donating land to go with that. But then there was just a group of men, older men in Bronson that actually kept it up, cleaned it up, and they was only paying like $25 per plot. and they just kept it up, and because it was personal. And most of the people, they was in Bronson that was buried, they knew everybody, so they just kept it going like that. And then the town, eventually, I don't even know how that came about, but the town ended up taking over the cemetery.
All the rest of the people died.
Yeah,
That's
all
one
those old
reason
people
why.
died, and then the town
Like your
started
dad.
keeping it clean, and so the town ended up taking it over, so that's how it got to be government property, which it really wasn't government property, it was personal, so I don't know. So legally.
But when we researched it years ago, it came up that Jim Milton donated the land to the town of Bronson. That's how Bronson ended up being over the cemetery. Jim Milton donated the land to Bronson for burial purposes. But the problem is, everybody in Levy County buried, it's more people from Levy County that's not from Bronson, buried out there than from Bronson. You got people from Otter Creek, you got people from Governor, you got people from Cheatham that's buried out there.
The same way with the other cemetery too, there's a lot of people that's not from Bronson that's buried there too.
That's private.
That's the same, it's the same.
All right, this is just something to think about.
Yes.
Think about what you want to do,
Yeah,
and let's,
we're gonna be there.
have it being on something that the kids.
So do you want to?
Okay, maybe this cemetery committee can get together and.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
It won't be this week, maybe next
Well,
week.
you know, if you read the existing resolution, it's predicated on a recommendation from the sanitary committee.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Do we have to have that meeting recorded?
Yes, yes.
You should.
Well, we did the last time, yes.
I can be there whenever you guys have it.
Okay.
I know they usually record it.
That's just for discussion, that's all.
So can only one person from here show up there?
Should I be?
Yes.
No, you can come.
You can come observe.
Be on the board.
As long as they know input.
Right, when you get to vote, you can't vote. They, only the people on the board will be able to vote.
Sunshine.
Can't be there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have vacancy on that board right now.
Yes, sir.
We have two of them, matter of fact.
Yes,
So
sir.
you can get on.
She can't be on.
I can't be on.
Mr. Franklin's on, she can't be on.
Sunshine, you want to get us all right.
One of us.
Get a little sunshine.
Stop.
So who is the cemetery board?
It hasn't been established, we don't have a board.
Mr. Schuler, not
I
me.
think Mr. Franklin.
Who else is on it other than you?
Mr. Roosevelt was on it. Mr. Roosevelt was on it.
Roosevelt, myself, and Joetta Scott was on.
And I was.
He doesn't live in Bronson.
We actually was on.
You don't have to live in Bronson to be on the board.
Showed up.
He should.
Well, you should, because it's a Bronson cemetery, and you should be a Bronson, that's what,
Then y'all ain't got no
came
meeting.
to our attention, that we had people on there that wasn't from Bronson.
Well, let's go back to Joetta.
You don't have to be.
Because,
Hey,
no,
let's stop, let's
to
stop.
be on that board. Because all the other boards.
Y'all have y'all's meeting, y'all discuss that and bring it back as a recommendation.
No, but that is part of the town.
You gotta have
But
a-
see, to be a part of a town board, you gotta be
In the
in
cemetery.
the town of Bronson.
Okay.
That was the thing. So that was the only thing else.
That was never a bylaw or nothing, was it?
That's a state,
does.
that's a state, and we discovered that when we were trying to do the
Code enforcement board.
code enforcement and the other boards, you have to be a member, you have to live within the city. You can have people come and view the board and watch the minutes, but to sit on the board and stuff, you have to be a city, in the city.
Okay.
We just learned that, guys.
All right, Ms. Sue.
All right, last thing on my agenda tonight is adoption of the maximum millage rate. So it's a little early this year, but it's because we have to get this to the county by day 35 of trim, which day 35 falls on next Friday, April 4th. And we don't have another meeting.
It's right,
I know, we don't even have another meeting till Monday, August 7th. So, I think County Councilor Phillips normally hasn't done this before. So what we normally do is we adopt the maximum millage rate. You don't usually end up going with that rate, but you do it just so that you can do something less than that. If we go to the lowest, then we can't raise it. So the rollback rate this year is 5.0642, which would make the ad valorem $290,890. The simple majority is 5.2080, which would give us $299,150. And the supermajority of a 2/3 vote would be 5.7288, which would give us $329,065. So again, tonight you guys are just adopting the maximum, not saying that's what we're gonna go with, but for planning purposes, we put this in so that we can go lower.
We adopt 2/3.
For right now, correct, just for right now.
Make a motion, we adopt the maximum millage rate of 5.7288.
I second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same motion carries.
Curtis,
Curtis.
you're asleep.
No. Just briefly, the first thing is the quote from water flow. That's polychlorinated substances. Some of the substances may cause cancer, liver cancer, obesity. We want to test our water. I guess there's some litigation going on with someone filed a lawsuit about these products, these substances being in water. Our water system hasn't been tested yet. It was $500. I think we moved up to $800 to have our water system tested for that if the council chooses to have it done.
This, we talked about this last time, right?
Yeah,
If we don't
Councilwoman
test it,
asked us
then
to
we
get
can't
them
be
to-
a part of it.
Yeah, so she asked for the price of it, so Monty came back and said it was $800. If we want to do it, we don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, it's $800 for us to test it.
We need to make a motion on this right here. What's the pleasure of the council?
I vote to have it tested.
I don't think so.
I second that.
And keep in mind that if, they have a plan that if, see if these substances are in our water, now we got to figure out what we're going to do to get it out. I don't think so. Just going to
We'd
say.
rather know now than
So I had a kid going with, extra doses.
I don't think. I think our water is,
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out how it's done. If I would put this in our water, it's got to be done in the aquifer.
Right.
So, if it's in our aquifer,
Right now, we
we
could do
need that pipeline a little sooner.
can I make a motion to get the water tested?
Yes.
I second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
That's good.
Folks from Big Bend Chevrolet at the last meeting, they came up about pursuing, getting some quotes on some vehicles, some used vehicles, where we looked cheaper and we got some quotes from the Dodge place. For used vehicles, then we stopped with Big Bend Chevrolet and about $1,000 difference to get brand new vehicles compared to used vehicles. But these, the 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 1500, we are the postal numbers. We test drove one, drove fine. I mean, different people have various things to say that, some people don't like them. And they were on one. They bring it. And I think if we're gonna pay that, if we're gonna spend $40,000 on a vehicle and we can get a new one, we just have to get a new.
The two that we have right now, yours and the one that Chad is driving, those are both 6-cylinders?
No, they're 8s.
They're 8s?
Yeah.
But I don't think you would be able to haul anything with these.
Well, you can pull, not same pulling radius, pulling power.
You can pull the lawnmower around, stuff like that.
The thought here is, what we would do is, and this is just us talking here, would you take one of the new vehicles and put the rig and inmates in that, because they're just driving back and forth. And then take that truck and put it back for the service truck, keep yours where it's at, and then you got the other one.
Yeah, basically, we explained that, it's still got 8,000 to 9,000 pounds, so. It's just, I don't think we have anything that would weigh more than what we could pull with the truck.
So we got the dually now, so
Right.
we need to pull something.
I need a motion.
Is this for one or is this for two?
And if we do this, then we're completely out of, we're actually over on our hour, but we'll be done. We're done. We will have expended all the way off my end, a little over that. So,
Or do they have them already, so we ain't gotta wait?
Right, they have them already there. Actually, have 3 of them.
All right, pleasure of the council.
Is there anything else that would need to use ARPA money for?
I was looking at some, at a pump, for our lift station, trying to find compatibility, because the newer pumps are not compatible with the older pumps at the Stevens Street lift station, the Subway lift station. Trying to have a spare pump for the at least the Stevens Street lift station, because everything in the city comes from that lift station. We don't have a backup pump for that particular lift station. But then, keep in mind, there's no guarantees on any of our lift station pumps. They only have a year guarantee.
Yeah.
So now we up in going to year 8. The pumps are expensive. They're not something that you just want to buy just to
Have around.
I mean, because for the newer lift stations, we're looking at probably anywhere from $13,000 to $15,000. But they don't get as much use as the Stevens Street lift station pump, because like I said, that lift station, everything within the city comes through that lift station.
We got we ordered something, didn't
yeah, we just don't have to.
Yeah, we got something like that. Came in and talked with the guy. It's about a month out.
So that'll be,
Yeah.
we use that in case of emergency. If we
Right.
need to go
If something go down, we'll be able to hook that up to bypass it.
Yeah. Send it out.
Okay, on the trucks, I have a question. Can we, because part of the charges that they're charging for is for the satellite radio and for OnStar. Is that something that we have to have? I mean, they come with a regular radio wise, if we don't need that, can we take that off?
First year, I thought the first year, it was just.
It's a subscription. so-
3 months free.
Yeah. You have to pay for
We
it.
don't have seven.
You get 3 months or a year free. It all depends what-
I got a year, on my car, I got a year, I had a year.
Well, it don't say it's free on here, it's down here with the rest of the itemized stuff. So if it ain't free, we don't need that.
It's in the options. That means there's an option available. You can add it. You can have it on the vehicle. That's what listed under there.
So it's not part of the,
Yeah, it's options. All the vehicles have those options. So
Right.
If it can get Sirius XM, it's listed under the options.
You can't buy a GM vehicle without those things.
Yeah.
They come on that.
I think if we get Sirius radio, we have to file.
You have to pay for
You have to
it.
pay for
You have
that.
to do it.
Let's make
Yeah,
sure.
but it comes compatible with the car. Every car.
It's not the same.
If you don't order it, if it's on now, if you don't order it, it's gonna cut off in 90 days.
Right.
A brand new truck, brand new thing, big Ben is either a year or 3 months free, and then after that, that's it.
All right, pleasure of council on the trucks.
I think they got a listed one because it's under options and that's what's right.
Curtis, would you prefer that we buy both of these trucks or buy one of these trucks and hold off for some of the pumps? And what's your preference? I think the council would like to.
Like I explained about the pumps, I don't know, when they're gonna go out, it's up to the council, I'm good either way. One truck, 2 trucks. But just having another truck,
So getting one truck will solve your truck problem.
we still will have little Joe, and then if we get the gold truck, we, a lot of times we have employees, sometimes we have to put them 2 together when you don't have vehicles that you can send one to go do this, one to go do
This
that.
money has to be spent by December.
How much over is we get both
For
of
about
them?
10 grand over if we do both of the trucks. About 10 grand.
Can we get one truck and then if we have a
Whatever
Bob
y'all decide,
pumps,
I'm good.
and if we have a Bob pumps, can you go get another, sales agreement from them in December for another truck?
I mean, so what she's saying is still had to get one and then hold off in case we need money until closer. into our deadline. Especially if we just want to, we ain't getting a truck that we gotta wait to come in, we gotta get it right then.
I would imagine if you guys decide to go with one truck, and then we have, say, 30-something thousand, I'm sure Curtis can find another way to spend 30,000.
Without another truck, he gonna want another
Well,
truck.
in the same breath, we should have enough money to buy the boats for him also from budget dollars.
But you gotta look at it like this, you're only paying $10,000 for 2 trucks.
Right.
The other truck is off for money. So, and you got 3 trucks that's really, really old. 2 of them should have been off the
The
market.
savings that you're gonna
We just
save
kept patching and patching.
To not have to spend money on
on
fixing them.
that is gonna supersede this right here. I feel like, I mean, that's a discussion that I had, we've just about have a brand new fleet, is what I'm saying, when this is over.
Ms. Wendy,
What's the cost of these two trucks?
47,645.
What was it?
47,645.
That's what, that's the.
42.
About
42, it's 42.
42,000
42 each.
So if we called him and said, hey, we're gonna buy 2 trucks at the same time, cut you a check, can you come down on the price? Would they come down on the price for buying 2 trucks?
No, because you're already
I
getting
didn't
the
talk to him
5,000.
like that. When I went there, I talked to him about two.
What's the warranty?
336.
5 years, 150,000 miles, whichever's first, I think.
That's on here?
5 years.
Yeah, well,
Is that on here?
That's a manufacturer, it has to be, it's brand new.
I just wanted to see it, I wanted to be in writing so we know exactly what it is and what that includes. I mean, I don't have a problem with getting the trucks, but I want to know if the warranty is 5 years or whatever it is, I want to know what it is.
It's a limited powertrain of 5,100. Your bumper to bumper is 336. That's every new car. That's mine.
What did you say?
5,100 is the powertrain.
It's a 5-year, 150. Instead of 150.
Whichever comes first. It covers all 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022 trucks. So these are 2023, so this doesn't cover, that's not the same
It's the
thing.
same for 2023.
So they just didn't renew
They
the
don't say.
paperwork.
If you keep going, like another couple pages in, see where it says 2021, 2023, 2024, my limited powertrain warranty, it's still 500.
Oh, it's the really light blue.
Yeah. So if we buy both of these, would you still recommend fixing the little truck?
Not the joke, with the gold truck, I mean.
Wouldn't be bad to have a spare.
In the same breath of this, I still think that we need to unload some of this stuff.
Probably the Russell truck and the little Ranger, because the Ranger.
We can-
I was gonna say that at the end.
We can count, we can
Do a seal
recoup
bid.
some of this, not all of it, but we can recoup some of this money by selling some of this stuff off.
Even stuff that's out there at the park, like I know there's like a old bush hog, I think, and there's a finished mowers and other stuff, I'm sure, in the weeds that's back there.
So, if we do approve the 2 trucks, could you, talk to them and tell them that you're a couple $1,000s over the budget and see if they would shave that
I'll
off?
say the trust. That's a winning.
This is,
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it, this is as low as they going.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us 5,600 off of both trucks. The trucks are 47,600. They gave us 5,600
I
off.
kind of used that when I told us, you know.
So you gonna do that?
Yeah, I kind of used that.
But you just trying, you can see the real
Play that card.
I mean, but it's up to the council, I mean, do, make work what we do, I mean.
I make a motion that we, purchase the trucks. As long as, like I said, we're clear on the warranty, all that will be taken care of. I'll make a motion that we make the motion.
Second.
Probably moved to second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Opposed, same, motion carried.
I'm afraid of being losing part.
We ain't gonna say that.
I mean, and, you know, there's,
I'm gonna pray.
the reason we got the dewatering pump is that, you know, some of our pumps are single phase and some are three phase. And so trying to get a pump, one pump that would work in all our stations, you need two.
Yes, sir.
One for a three phase and one for a single phase.
Yeah, you can't convert them.
No, you can't. That was when we were trying to convert the single phase to three phase.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, all right, the signs, that thing was brought up earlier, all the signs that you all requested, I put,
Thank you so much.
almost $400 worth of signs. Counting
You say how much?
about
Good Lord.
Yes,
Oh,
signs
I
are
saw
free.
I saw that one sign, and I thought it was nice.
So,
They
I
are
knew
nice.
I knew where to turn to find it.
So you got new signs at the park, right?
yeah, new signs at the park, new signs at Raleigh, Marshburn, new signs at Monroe, and
So we changed it.
Did you do the bathrooms at the park? Oh, you go, man.
I know something, we got some people out there that sure can't read about dogs.
Oh, so many people out there with
You go out there on the weekend, I seen them, they had a birthday party, but they had 15 head.
I know they do, but that don't mean don't need to be signed out.
you can't help but see them signs. I mean, it's signs, it's signs, videos, it's signs.
And I would have stopped and said anything, but they were the only ones there, just me. And I said, well,
And then most people, what they say is that
turn
it's
the
a service.
right here, I reckon.
That's everybody's answer now.
Yeah,
It's my
it's a
service
service
dog.
Yeah.
Service dogs bite too.
I would have called the police.
Well, they were having a birthday for a child, and I'd hate to go out there and arrest the people for a child.
Well, you got to take your sign down then. Let the dog
Yeah.
do
If there's been somebody else out there, some other ones out there, I might have done something.
Yeah. And people get mad, all right? Ask people to leave the school with their dogs and they get irate, like you said, the audacity comes out.
And the last thing is, it's a resident concern about 809 E Hathaway.
Just read it. Just go ahead and read it.
So he want us to put grass
I think it's
in front of the Napa?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where the,
Wait a minute.
asphalt.
Go ahead and read
like
it.
right there when you coming out from where Bronson is? I'm trying to figure out where
Read this for the record.
So, Mr. Thomas Cases, I guess is his name, came in to complain about the sand in the road in front of the Napa store. He states that the sidewalk in front of the store has a lot of sand, which flows into the street when it rains and makes it slippery and dangerous condition. He wants the town council to put grass back there, so it will soak up the water and prevent the sand from going into the road. He can be reached at blah blah, his email blah blah. He wants to make sure this is reported to the town council members.
So actually, that's county property.
That's correct.
County
No,
and state,
state.
right? County and state, so.
Right.
I know where he's talking about.
That's a good response.
I know
That's
where he's
county
talking about,
property.
because I know somebody that drives a.
He asked it to go before the council.
It's beyond our control. Just like putting speed bumps on Main Street, it's beyond our control.
There you go.
You're talking to the wrong people.
There you go.
Take that to the county commission.
And DOT.
That's DOT.
But yeah, it's DOT, it ain't, it's all DOT.
As long as it ain't us. What's the other one? The Crystal McLean?
That's county, it's Court Street.
Okay.
We already addressed that one
All right.
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Curtis, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you want to report about our tank and everything, finding everything?
Yeah, everything went well with the washout. I know you all got a lot of calls about the fire hydrants.
I know, the second I text you, I realized, I was like, you know, they put this sign on.
You know, everything went well. Actually, you know, about a year ago, we had a week, you know, we had welded, and that was part of the washout to make sure that, and then too, a lot of you don't understand that sometimes, not our, we have a fire, but in other areas, sometimes we get animals and stuff get down in the bottom of the tank. So that's why you have to drain it. It's like, you know, it seems like we're wasting water, but you have to drain it, wash it out, disinfect it to make sure that you don't have anything, any contaminants in the bottom of the bowl of the tank.
You know, I gotta tell y'all this story. Okay, here's good. This job that we have here, occasionally you have to have a good time, okay? So I had this lady that called me and she said, sir, the water, you know, there's a hydrant right down there. She called me about 9 o'clock at night about it. And you all know this person, I'm not gonna call her name, but I had to pick at her about it. She called me up, I said, Jeff, we had some old water in the tank, so we just thought we'd just run it out, and she would give us a do that pressure. Oh, okay, that was all she said.
And the reason to the why we had to turn on some fire is the water pressure with the new pumps, they working very well. The pressure that was up to like 87, 88, and we only operate at 55, 56. So all that excess pressure, probably our line would have been okay, but the customer lines on their side, because we have a lot of customers that use thin wall, some kind of electricity.
Did not have one call about pressure. So,
that was why we had to have the fire.
Okay.
good job, good job. All right, Gail, come up here and talk to us.
Well, everybody's got pictures in their napkin. Unless I'm missing out on everybody here. Last week, Robert Smith and I went to South Dakota to view the new fire truck, which it's basically completed. We went for a final inspection, looking over the paint, make sure that everything that was in the quotation was on the truck. We made a couple of adjustments for safety purposes with an extra step and a couple other things. They expect it to be, well, they're going to drive it from there to Ocala. Ocala, there's the same guy we have come work on the trucks here who deals with that. So he's going to do some final stuff there for it. We might go down there and add on some things there that we need. And they hope to have it here mid to late August. That's going to depend on all the additions we put to it. So these are the pictures of it. Looks real nice, sounds good. If you see the head-on picture, you'll notice that the air horns have a cover on it. That's because any truck that Freightliner sends to North South Dakota has covers on them so the snow won't get in there, fill them up. And the salesman thought, he said we could take them off, like muffle the sound. It doesn't muffle the sound. The horn sounds pretty good. And personally, I think it looks good with those covers on.
What's the thing on the front?
So if you see on top of the pump panel in the center, that little black spot on the top, that is what's called a crosslay, where the hoses usually go off the pipe. We do have one up there, but because it's a four-wheel drive truck, it's all-wheel drive, so it's hot. And Chief Russell and I, we're not that high. We had another salesman talking about the truck to us and mentioned front crosslays on the bumper. And that's what that is. That's a cover. You pick it up and the hoses are in there. Right down the wheel. We have to pick away, step up on there and step back with the hoses. It's a good safety feature for the short people.
Just make sure that when you park it somewhere, you don't run into something, because that's an extra.
Well, we have one on the engine now.
We do?
Not like this, but we do have a smaller line on the truck. So that's fairly common for people to do. But there'll be two there, and there's only two up on top. This has, as we mentioned it before, compressed air foam system. We can put foam right in the water. And some places have this has a separate foam tank, which a lot of engines have that foam mixes with the water. And there's an expansion ratio for it. Generally, just foam and water, there's a 5-to-1 expansion ratio. So 1 gallon of water plus foam will equal 5 gallons of finished foam. The compressed air makes the foam expand even more. And foam is just like dish soap in your sink. You put dish soap, but it basically rises the same. With the compressed air, they say up to 20 to 1. I wouldn't expect that with this. I would expect maybe 10 to 1. So these doubles what just throwing water and foam together would do. So, and that's something that's becoming fairly common. This is a different kind of compressed air. Normally, you'd have an actual motor on the truck, compressor. Those cost quite a bit of money, and it's another motor to be dealing with maintenance. This has a bottom, a air cylinder with compressed air in it. So it is limited, but the amount of water we have in the truck, the amount of foam, it'll be sufficient for what we're going to need. We haven't done a lot with this. I've talked with other companies, departments who use compressed air foam for an actual tank on a house fire, and they say it works really good. Saves on water damage. Obviously, we don't have as much water. The foam expands and basically slows the fire and cools it as well. So there's benefits to it.
Where is that on the truck, Joe? Can you see it?
Well, if you see on the pump panel with the red thing there, to the left of that there's some blue, and that's just the controls for it.
Okay.
The air cylinder is up on top in the area up above there behind the black spot, and the foam tank is a little 12-gallon foam tank sitting.
But you don't have to use the foam unless you choose to, right?
Right. There's one line that comes off that will deal with foam. The other lines, there's no foam we can put in the other lines. This one, just a single one comes off the back, and we can flow water and foam, or compressed air.
So is this the engine number one?
It's actually does a pumper set.
What's the difference?
Well, 70 is the department number. Chief list 71 and Wilson 72. Every department in the county has a specific number for their department.
I mean, is this your primary, going to your primary fire?
It probably will be. We're not quite sure yet, but it most likely will be. Unless, it might depend where the call is. If the call is on the main highway, we can take the current engine. This being all-wheel drive, we'll take it out in the rural area. Definitely.
I have a question. On the phone, does the fire have to be like at a certain extent for you to use the phone? Or do you use them no matter what?
Yeah, we can use it no matter what. And like when he was asking, we could dial down the amount of compressed air in there and put a little bit more water.
Okay, because the phone before, I don't know if it's the same, but the older phones were very cancerous. And
That's what Kurt's talking about, the PFAS.
Yeah,
And
so-
PFAS, PFOS.
And you don't use the same thing?
No, but
right?
they're making it without that.
Yeah, okay.
It was on television, but that's what it's called.
Yeah, PFAS, PFOS, polyfluorinated substances. The fire college has an issue with that because they use foam a lot down there and got into their water system.
I have a brother-in-law that just passed away in January from brain cancer, and he was only 31 years old, and he was a firefighter. So
Yeah, it depends where it was used, and airports use it a lot
yes,
for
sir.
training. When I was a kid, they would get a big pile of it and would all run through it. But I don't know if they had the PFAS in it at the time. It was quite a while ago. So,
How many fire engines do we have when this comes into town? How many fire engines will it?
we'll have, this is designated as an NFPA Class A pumper. And we'll have two like that, two Class A pumpers, which helps with ISO rating. Because the ISO rating, if we have this one or the other would be a backup, so in case one goes down for maintenance, we have a second one. Then that will help with the ISO for the chassis. And another thing that we have to discuss the policies of using it and all. If one truck goes to assist Wilson or chief or someone else on a fire, then we can still have another in town to be able to fight a fire.
How old is the existing? and how is that?
I think it's 15 or 16 years.
But this one won't be a birthday parties, right? Like the other one.
And ideally, we could look for a FEMA grant to get another one very similar to this, to replace the truck. And this, we hope to have, we have this one, and we have another smaller truck, basically a pickup truck with a box on it, to use for running EMS calls, first aid calls in car accidents. Called a quick response truck. That one's working on getting into production. We're looking for a chassis for it. But when that comes into more fruition, we'll bring back some more pictures of that. But between the two vehicles, we're getting USDA grant to recover 35% of each one. And then we get the $25,000 from the county, $25,000 from the town to help pay for it. I don't know, we haven't really figured it out yet, but we should be able to pay it off in 7 to 10 years, ideally.
Yeah, I realize I missed the meeting, but what happened to Dennis Russell? Is he going to chief?
He's on administrative leave.
Okay.
Well, his father had passed away.
His father?
Yes. Passed away the week before the last meeting. Not very long ago. And then he had, something happened to his ankle also. He was on a roller, with his ankle in the air.
All right, sir.
Any questions? Any further questions?
Question? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Oh, I do have one other thing. The extrication equipment that I showed last year, or earlier, whatever, there was an accident last Saturday, I think, and the equipment got used at that accident. We've used it a little bit before, but this was a major, there's a lot of damage to this one.
Yeah, two of our kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and the equipment was used for that, and they were going.
Are they okay?
They went home, one went home yesterday, and I think the other one home today.
Yeah. Two of our kids and Bronson.
All right, Mr. Moore.
Nothing to add, sir.
Okay. I already did my spiel. Ms. Virginia?
So the street side at Mungo and Pine Street looks so good, but it seems as if somebody might have done something malicious to the water issue that we had yesterday. So if you see something, if you see somebody messing with something they don't have no business, please tell somebody. Please call the town hall, call Ms. Sue, call anybody. If you see something, say something. Don't grab your pistol out. You know, call the sheriff's department. But if you see something, say something.
What was the water?
We had a water leak yesterday, and it seemed like somebody had already been there. They opened the gates that's usually closed. So it looks like somebody,
And that's,
it looks like somebody messed with it that didn't have any business messing with it. But if we see something, say something, because somebody spoke up and told Sherry that the water was leaking, which was great, because
she said it looked like they're running along.
yeah, we were able to deal with it, but it looks like somebody maliciously went in there.
Where is this?
Right behind where the old school campus is.
The old
where our
water
stuff is up
tower.
there, the old water tower.
With that little thumb.
If you see something, say something, please.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Sure. First one is about the transportation for these rails.
Oh,
Second one.
that was in the last meeting.
Okay, did they get it?
Yeah,
Yes.
The second one is the question that I asked earlier about Pine Terrace, that road. Could you look into it because it actually needs to be redone? Because it should look like all these other streets that we got.
Yes, sir.
And when you dig into it, you're gonna find out that we paid for the other type of streets, but we didn't get them. It's like paying for a Cadillac and getting the Volkswagen. That's what happened. Look into that and I ask you about it, you're gonna find out that I know what we're talking about.
Yes, sir. I will ask Ms. Supervisor.
Anything else? You good, Mr. Okay. Tyler?
Nothing, I agree. Once we get these new trucks, we could probably start getting some stuff together, and we probably don't have enough to have somebody come here and do a auction, a public auction. We'll probably either take it to like weeks or something, or just do a sealed bid like Wilson does. Start getting rid of some stuff.
Well, they have one out here in the county, every so often, put in with them.
Yeah.
The school board takes pictures and puts them on.
That they, yeah, they go on, Gov, can't remember what it is, Gov deals or something.
Okay. Ms. Shears?
The homecoming week for the high school is the week of October. I think the actual parade is supposed to be on the 5th. Even if it's just us sitting on the back of a truck throwing out some candy. I don't think we were represented last year. I'd like to go back to that, please. And we have the opportunity to buy a banner as well, even if we just put on it that Town of Bronson supports BMHS or whatever, and it'll be on that front fence that's coming across. So if we're gonna ask businesses to do it, I feel like we should show the same level of support, and it stays out there, and everybody that passes by will see it. So, and it's $250, and she uses that money for. So when we get money through the school to do rewards and different things, that money has to really come from us, because when we get money from the state, you're allowed to do this, but you can't do that. Like you can buy them some kind of trinket, but you can't feed kids, or it's always something attached to it. So she tries to have like an account too, where it says if we want to give the kids a pizza party, then we can go to this and get that money and do it from there. If we want to give them an ice cream party, because when we use reward money, you can only use it for certain stuff, and then you got to have the money. So she tries to sell banners and do different things so that, like the teacher appreciation, or we do student of the month, and we do different things for kids, we have money automatically so we can do stuff for our kids. So that's what that money goes for.
Is it already time of the year to buy the banners, like now?
Yes, this is a newer thing that she's trying to do with the big banners, but I got a letter for you if you want.
You want to do one?
So she has, yeah. I mean, he painted, yeah, do his own banner. Yeah.
Who's it, give me a letter?
Huh?
Can you give me a letter?
Yes, ma'am, I sure would.
Well, I'm saying, do we need to,
I got some, but I left them at home, so she gave me some extra ones.
do we need to do it now, make a decision for us to get one now, or can we do it next meeting?
We can do it next meeting, or we can do it whenever. If I just tell her to expect that we're getting one, then she'll know. It just makes it easier. Everything goes to Jennifer Gray. We just have to just decide what, what we want to do. And I'll bring
While we're talking about band sponsor and stuff, the football, the
Lucifer.
the golf tournament, Timmy guy?
Tim Jones.
Jones, yeah, I know his number.
Okay.
And he does a lot too.
I don't know. I got three teams that were close.
As I said, you play golf?
You play golf?
Yeah, it's gonna be
What?
Yeah.
All right. I got a friend that was like #1 in the state.
All right.
So, wait, hold on a second. So when you're talking about homecoming, you want what exactly?
So even if we just sat on Mr. Parton's truck on the back of it and sat on it and threw out candy, something that represents us. I know years ago, many moons ago, I know we did like a float one year. We used to do something every year.
We ain't got to stand people float.
Well, and then what we did, or like now we have the new,
New fire truck.
what's it? Yeah.
I mean, we don't have
The
to
Gator thing, we had 2 of them we could ride in, half of us could ride in, then we just put a sign on it. That's fine.
In that parade now.
Yeah, I mean, it can be something simple, but I just want something that where we're the counselors represented in the parade. We're asking other people to support our kids. I think we need to make sure.
Yeah, because the last couple of years, the parades have been getting better and better and better. And the only way this one is gonna get better is if we include the city, the town in it. And our people that's trying to vendor from us too. If we can get them in there, that would make it bigger.
Well, Camden was out there the last parade. Cause I got some, and I got some for my nieces and nephews.
Oh, candy, yeah.
Candy was always big, I think somebody was on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Other people doing
Some of
it.
them, yeah.
Yes, but it wasn't, everybody didn't know about that because I was on the side of the road watching the parade and then there was council members in it and I knew nothing about that. So if we're gonna do that, I need for everybody to know about that. Because I felt like, it's like, so then the people I'm with are like, were you supposed to be in the parade? It's like, well, I didn't know nothing about that.
And you should be.
It should be all of us if we're gonna do it that way and everybody's able to do that. But it shouldn't be something where it's like, ta-da, here we are right here.
Yeah, you should do that.
Franklin,
Good.
you good? Any more public participation? Good. You had a chance to review the bills.
I just have one question, I'm sure for me or something. What would be
So Generac, check hasn't been printed, Generac is the warranty
On the generator.
on the generator.
Yeah, I knew it was a generator, I just didn't know it was like.
I print,
maintenance or something.
Yeah, I have some of those checks, they won't have numbers because when they come in to do payroll, I'll have her sign the check
That's
then.
fine, I just didn't know if it was
But that's what
warranty or
Generac is.
maintenance
Curtis
or
is
broke
studying,
already.
do we want to do the extended warranty line?
I was making sure it didn't break already.
Nah.
But if it does, we don't want to have repair ourselves, that's the point.
All right, I'll entertain the motion to pay the bills.
I motion to pay the bill.
I say,
Walker moved to second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.